As the online rumor mill heated up, official statements about Hackman's death remained sparse. Law enforcement cited an ongoing investigation but refused to comment on whether any foul play was suspected. The local sheriff's department in Santa Fe County, New Mexico, asked for privacy for the family, who, ironically, did not immediately surface with a public statement themselves. Friends from Hackman's past who were approached by journalists either claimed ignorance or provided generic tributes that felt perfunctory, lacking the warmth one would expect for such a beloved figure. This silence was deafening. Hollywood, which often pours out tributes for stars from the golden age, offered only lukewarm acknowledgments. No large-scale memorial was announced, no tearful eulogies from major co-stars, no commemorative interviews. Some watchers pointed out how the entertainment industry had erupted in emotional tributes when other legends, like Christopher Plummer or Sean Connery, passed. With Hackman, it was as though the entire industry put out a collective no comment. To many, this was a glaring red flag. Why wasn't the town that celebrated him for decades now coming together to honor him? Why were people who once worked closely with him, directors, actors, and producers, so reticent to talk? That question alone ignited further speculation. If we follow the logic of conspiracies, a hush from those who typically love the limelight suggests fear. Fear of saying something that might expose secrets best left buried. To grasp the gravity of this event, we must understand who Gene Hackman was. Born in 1930, he served in the U.S. Marine Corps before becoming one of the most versatile actors in the history of Hollywood. He was a man of discipline and craft, known for iconic roles in films such as The French Connection, Forgiven, and The Conversation. He won multiple Academy Awards. His face became synonymous with a certain brand of intensity, an unyielding presence that could command a scene without bombast. As the years wore on, Hackman grew tired of the Hollywood machine. He was never the type to bask in the limelight or chase endless publicity. In the early 2000s, he pulled back from acting, relocating to New Mexico with his wife. He favored quiet pursuits, painting, writing, enjoying a slower pace. By all accounts, he had no known enemies or feuds. He wasn't embroiled in controversies, rarely gave interviews, and seemed genuinely content in retirement, which makes his sudden death, especially on such a pivotal date, all the more jarring. When the Epstein client list finally emerged, large swaths of it were redacted. Much of the public saw only partial names, initials, or references to high-profile individuals who had already been implicated in the scandal through earlier leaks. Even so, the biggest revelation was the list's apparent incompleteness. Journalists and social media investigators alike claimed that the published file looked cleaned up or heavily edited. Almost immediately, prominent reporters questioned the authenticity of the release, alleging that a more extensive document might exist somewhere, locked away or protected by legal barriers. Whispers circulated that major studios, political figures, and even certain intelligence agencies had intervened to make sure certain high-powered individuals were never revealed. It's precisely these sorts of rumors that built a foundation for suspicion. If the list wasn't complete, who was missing? Gene Hackman's name was not on that published list. Nobody, not even the most rabid conspiracy theorists, seriously claimed he was involved in Epstein's crimes. However, that fact didn't dampen speculation. It only fueled it. People started asking a different question. If Hackman wasn't a participant, might he have been an unwilling witness to something bigger? Hollywood is a web. After all, directors, actors, producers, and financiers rubbing elbows at industry galas or philanthropic events. Throw in high society gatherings where politicians, business magnates, and entertainment moguls convene, and it's not hard to imagine the potential for secrets to be exchanged or discovered. Gene Hackman, despite his deliberate reclusiveness, spent decades within that world. Could he have seen or heard something that placed him in a precarious position? Shortly after Hackman's death, an unconfirmed rumor emerged from a self-described close friend of the late actor. This individual, who chose to remain anonymous out of fear for their safety, claimed Hackman had been researching something in the months leading up to his passing. The friend alleged that Hackman had expressed worry about a powerful group that didn't want the truth coming out. What truth? The friend couldn't say, or wouldn't say. All they offered was a cryptic statement. Gene always believed in justice, and he knew some things that made him uneasy. Things he never spoke about openly, but hinted at when he was feeling troubled. Around the same time, reporters looking into Hackman's passing discovered that several of his personal documents and digital files were missing. According to local sources in Santa Fe County, the police found Hackman's study ransacked, though there were no signs of forced entry. Notebooks, letters, and even a hard drive that he routinely used were unaccounted for. A neighbor told a local newspaper that she saw unfamiliar cars parked near Hackman's property just a few days before his death, cars with tinted windows, leaving late at night. This was enough to propel the conspiracy machine into high gear. If Hackman's demise was a natural tragedy, why would his personal effects vanish without explanation? Why wouldn't the police confirm or deny these reports? Coincidence theory. A significant portion of the public sees no evidence linking Hackman's death to the Epstein revelations. After all, Hackman was 93 years old, and advanced age does come with serious health risks. They argue that he simply passed away, and the timing was unfortunate. The missing documents, possibly misplaced, or stolen by opportunistic burglars, hoping for valuable memorabilia. The silence from Hollywood. Hackman had been out of the spotlight for a long time, and perhaps the tributes were more private. Silenced whistleblower theory. Those on the conspiratorial side believe Hackman possessed crucial information implicating high-profile figures who wanted to ensure he never shared it. The suspicious disappearance of his personal files, the rumor of a final email, and the perfect timing of his death on the day the Epstein list was released are far too convenient to dismiss. Staged death theory. A lesser-known subset of conspiracy theorists suggests Hackman may still be alive, having staged his and his wife's deaths to hide from those who threatened him. They propose he's gone underground, possibly with the help of a witness protection program, waiting for the right moment to re-emerge with damning evidence. Deflection theory. Some believe the entire scenario might have been engineered to distract from the real Epstein list. In other words, Hackman's death, however it occurred, was exploited by powerful interests to shift public attention away from the names on the list. Even if they didn't kill him, they capitalized on the tragedy to manipulate the news cycle. In any conspiracy, one ingredient is essential: a lack of complete transparency. Official silence, missing records, or contradictory statements stoke the flames of suspicion. Here, we have an abundance of all three: law enforcement's reticence, the incomplete Epstein list, and a hush from Hollywood form the perfect storm. Additionally, the modern media landscape is fertile ground for these theories. Viral content thrives on sensational storytelling, especially where the wealthy and powerful are involved. Hashtags like #HackmanMystery, #Epstein cover-up, and #Hollywood secrets trended intermittently, fueling curiosity. Videos, podcasts, and blog posts dissected the timeline, the missing evidence, and every rumor in between. The more people discussed it, the more plausible it all seemed to become, regardless of hard proof. Let's assume for a moment that Hackman's death was orchestrated by unknown forces. Why would they target a 93-year-old actor who'd long since retired? Possibility A. Hackman had direct evidence of high-profile involvement with Epstein, perhaps diaries, photographs, or recorded confessions. Possibility B. Hackman was not a witness, but knew someone who was. He might have been the go-between, or someone entrusted with crucial documents. Possibility C. Hackman's clout and reputation could have lent credibility to otherwise unsubstantiated claims. If he decided to speak out, people would pay attention. Possibility D. Hackman may have planned to share his knowledge with a journalist or a documentary team. Evidence of this might have been on that missing hard drive. None of these possibilities can be proven, yet they persist because they fill the void left by the official narrative silence. And in that vacuum, imagination reigns supreme. In the days after Hackman's death, another puzzling piece of information emerged. A second anonymous source, this one a longtime colleague from Hollywood's past, claimed that Hackman recently told him, "They think they've buried everything, but they're wrong." This direct quote, if true, hints at secrets far beyond typical Hollywood drama. Who are they? The most obvious answer: the people behind the Epstein network, those in power who had means, motive, and opportunity to cover their tracks. Or maybe it's broader. They could refer to an interlocking group of elites spanning Hollywood, government, and corporate boardrooms. Whoever it was, Hackman apparently believed that hidden truths might one day surface. This kind of ominous statement is catnip for conspiracy theorists. It echoes the cryptic words of others who died under mysterious circumstances, from journalists to whistleblowers. In each case, there's always that final clue: a recorded phone call, a text, a note that suggests they were onto something big. Some armchair investigators proposed that another version of the Epstein list might have existed, a more comprehensive, unedited ledger. If so, it's possible Hackman's name was never on it as a perpetrator, but perhaps it appeared as a tangential figure, an attendee at an event, an acquaintance of someone deeply involved, or a man privy to hush-hush conversations. If he had knowledge of the undisclosed portion of that list, names the public was never meant to see, it could explain why he would become a target. Alternatively, there could be a scenario in which Hackman had a personal moral code compelling him to come forward. He spent his career telling stories, revealing human truths on screen. Off camera, that sense of duty might have propelled him to expose wrongdoing if he believed the public deserved to know. If indeed he was preparing to share this knowledge, the unfortunate timing of his death starts to look less and less like mere misfortune. What's equally suspicious is how quickly mainstream outlets moved on from the Epstein list itself. After a brief flurry of articles summarizing the names on the released document, many of which were already public knowledge, the media largely shifted to discussing Hackman's legacy. Cable news ran special retrospectives on his career. Magazine covers featured photos of him in iconic roles. The conversation about the Epstein list receded into the background, overshadowed by a star's sudden, perplexing demise. This shift in focus could be explained simply by the fact that Hackman's death was major news. He was a celebrity beloved by multiple generations. However, it also illustrates how easily public attention can be redirected. Investigative stories demand time, patience, and a willingness to keep digging. Memorial tributes and obituary pieces, on the other hand, are straightforward to produce and draw large audiences. Conspiracy theorists argue this was no coincidence. Powerful forces may have used the story of Hackman's death as cover to bury explosive revelations from the client list. The truth, if it exists, hasn't emerged in the months since. The incomplete Epstein list remains posted online, but no official body has confirmed the existence of another, unredacted version. Hackman's estate has not publicly addressed any rumors of missing documents. Law enforcement's investigation remains sealed. Family members have kept an exceptionally low profile. Yet, the questions refuse to die. One can't help but wonder, if Hackman truly had discovered something related to Epstein's circle, what was he planning to do with it? Was there a journalist or filmmaker out there who might have spoken to him? Could there be a trove of evidence stashed somewhere, waiting to resurface? The tension between possibility and proof keeps the story alive, fueling endless debates online. In a world rife with disinformation, it's easy to dismiss conspiracies as pure fantasy, but it's also naive to assume that powerful individuals never engage in sinister cover-ups. Whichever side you fall on, the unanswered questions surrounding Gene Hackman's death and the Epstein revelations point to a glaring need for continued inquiry. Demand transparency. If authorities have concluded their investigation into Hackman's death, they should make the findings public, especially regarding the missing documents. Investigate the email rumors. If there's evidence of a last email sent by Hackman, it needs to be verified. Journalists should push for digital forensics, scrutinize the Epstein list. Independent media outlets and watchdog organizations should keep pressing for the release of any unredacted materials. The public has a right to know if certain names were purposely omitted. Invite whistleblowers. If anyone else in Hollywood or beyond has information about the truth behind Hackman's demise, they should be encouraged to come forward, even anonymously. Gene Hackman's filmography remains a testament to his artistry. From hardened cops to conflicted villains, from wise mentors to comedic foils, he brought a unique blend of gravitas and authenticity to every role. His passing, under such shadowy circumstances, casts a pall over that legacy. Fans want closure. They want to celebrate him without the lingering sense that they're missing a crucial piece of the puzzle.